Hi there, I'm Aydin Kurt-Elli, Chief Executive of Lumison. I'm joined here by Richard Morrell, our CTO, and Richard Bowden, our Microsoft SysAdmin in the Network Operations team. Hi Richards.
Hi.
Hi. Excellent. We're here to talk a little bit about what we're doing both with Microsoft in our hosted application space and how we've deployed them basically. Richard Morrell, if I could start with you, could we just go over a little bit about what the problem was that we were trying to fix? What was it that we were looking for when we started first looking at the Microsoft applications?
Sure. Well, we actually didn't start off looking at Microsoft applications, we started looking off at hosted applications. And groupware was one of the first obvious, and collaboration was one of the first obvious choices there. And we looked at a whole bunch of different technologies, a whole bunch of different solutions, looked at open source, paid for applications, all kinds of different models, and we settled on Exchange because it is the be all and end all of online collaboration and groupware. It just does everything. It does it slick. It's kind of almost like the iPhone in a way for groupware, in that everybody's trying to be Exchange. So you get like things like Zimbra and stuff that are good facsimiles of Exchange, but they're still not, because you still got to put plugins into Outlook and various other things in order to make it work, and the web interfaces isn't quite slick. So we settled on Exchange purely from it ticks all of our boxes, and from a customer point of view it would not require any education. Everybody knows what Outlook does, everybody knows what Exchange does, so from that point of view it was going to be a very effective message to market in terms of this is groupware, this is, what's Zimbra, you didn't have to have that kind of conversation with people.
Well, I can see how, from the customer point of view, seeing an application that they're used to or maybe be looking for explicitly makes a lot of sense. I suppose the question then is, if we were rolling that out to our customer base, we've got to think about how we do it and maybe the issues wrapped around delivering that in a cost-effective way. Were there particular technology issues that we looked at, Richard, Bowden, in terms of how we deployed it? I mean, certainly we've done something slightly different by using virtualisation technology, haven't we?
Yeah. From the sort of deployment back-end point of view, obviously you've got the constraints of Active Directory, then you've got the Exchange, and a lot of the processes are quite manual. So to make this cost effective, we had to design sort of a deployment strategy for it, which obviously involved the Microsoft projects, the System Center, Virtual Machine Manager, and the released Service Pack 2, and Service Pack 1 for 2007. Made it a lot easier using the PowerShell and sort of the VHD images of the OS. And then we were able to script Active Directory and Exchange to install in a one-stop process type of thing.
So it's an investment that we made, and a lot of work that you and your colleagues made,
yeah,
in terms of automating the deployment of the application and the operating system.
That's correct.
And we and our customers benefit from that. I mean, what have we got the install times down to now?
It's between 1 hour and 30 minutes to 1 hour 45 minutes, depending on what the server's doing at the time.
That's fantastic, and that's for fully delivered, fully installed application environment.
Ready to send an email once deployed.
That's very exciting.
And because we come from a Unix background as well, we've got a lot of investment in terms of automation and scripting and stuff. And in previous versions of Windows and previous versions of Exchanges, it was all very UI and graphical and everything like that. But because we were able to take advantage of everything being on PowerShell now, it means we could script that, automate it, and get those times right down from the whole click next, yes, no, blah, just to kind of mean that we could deploy quickly and repeatably as well. So there's a lot less issues with installation failures and that kind of thing.
Fantastic. And Richard Bowden mentioned Active Directory there. We're doing some stuff that's slightly different with Active Directory, aren't we? I mean, most hosted application environments are kind of like islands. They're just out there in a hosted space. I mean, could you share with our viewers some of the things that we're doing slightly different, Richard?
Okay. Well, the key thing for us in terms of Exchange and what we're doing differently from, say, BPOS or a HMC solution. So HMC is the hosted messaging and collaboration framework from Microsoft, which is their kind of guide to how you might do hosting of Exchange in a cloud environment. And it's interesting in that it's very scalable, it's a big system, but what it doesn't allow you to do is two things, is start small and scale up. You have to start big and scale up. And the second thing you have to do is it has to be a federated system, as in it's completely separate from your Active Directory in the office. There's no tweaking, there's no capability of changing it, you can't add in your own things. It is a very vanilla deployment HMC. So you get your Exchange, you get your Outlook Web Access, that's all really good stuff, your collaboration stuff, but then that's it. You can't integrate with your systems in the office, you can't integrate with your suppliers or other people that you might want to have an Exchange kind of integration system with. So from that point of view, HMC was interesting in that it was a big system, it was very resilient and all the rest of it, but it just didn't fit the kind of SME model where they want to have the server still in their office so they can do their little thing that makes it special for them. Yeah. So Exchange out of the box is interesting for a lot of people, but for some people it's like Exchange, and I have to add in my own stuff as well. From an Active Directory point of view, that allowed us to be able to integrate with customers' Active Directories. So with a Lumison managed VPN or your own managed VPN, you can then connect back to your office, and then we can then synchronize and replicate with your own Active Directory server in the office or servers in the office to allow you to have a single sign-on across your whole email infrastructure. So if you log into the Control-Delete in the office and log into your Windows PC, you can use the same login details to connect to your Outlook and your Exchange, and that way you don't have to remember about separate passwords, remember what they are, and having them so simple you can remember 5 of them at the same time. It just gives you that capability to be able to log in once and have the whole thing working. We had an intern start on Monday, and we gave him his domain login. He logged into Outlook and pressed the yes, I want to set up my email box, and it just picked up everything else from the domain there. He didn't even have to enter anything. For iPhones, it's a case of email address, username and password, done. It's all just, and those are the same details as you have on your desktop PC, no different.
And when you refer to the colleague that's just joined us, we are eating our own dog food, aren't we? So within Lumison, we're using exactly the same infrastructure and exactly the same deployment that our kind of customers benefit from.
Absolutely, yes.
So
it's a real big part of what we do here is we believe in what we use, and also at the end of the day, nobody's a bigger tester or great at breaking things than certainly you personally.
I'm very good at breaking things, aren't I? Everyone knows that.
But it just means that we're walking a mile in our customer's shoes, and we get that kind of feel for whether it's appropriate or not. And I certainly think it helps that when our sales team go out and sell the stuff, they can actually believe in it, as opposed to it's a technical thing, it just kind of works in the cloud, and you know, it's very real for them, so they can say, you know, what the benefits are for them and how they use it in a mobile situation as well. So I think it's imperative that we do use our own stuff.
And talking of sitting on the same platform, Richard, we're sitting on the same virtualization platform, so we're actually using Microsoft's Hyper-V platform for deploying our applications. I mean, what's it been like in terms of designing, developing and deploying it in that environment?
On Hyper-V.
And you do have plenty of experience yourself of the other supplier of virtualization platforms, if we're allowed to refer to them by name. I don't know, it's the virtualization provider that has no name. So what's your experience been like in terms of using the latest release candidates of Hyper-V?
Yeah, my experience with Hyper-V, I started testing with Beta 2 before I joined Lumison. Very, very good. I was very impressed. I had a big smile on my face when I was testing all these deployment methods and things. The biggest win, obviously, is you get all the features of VMware ESX Server for fundamentally free. You get even more features with R2, like the vMotion capability and things like that, out of the box with OS. So you've got all the tools, you can use all the knowledge that you've used in the past, the way Microsoft do things, you can apply that to Hyper-V, and things just work.